grant him eternal rest and peace in paradise, in hereafter. We also pray that God should give the family the fortitude and the strength to bear the irreplaceable loss, because no father is too old to die.
Yeah.
No husband is too old to die. And no grandpa or great-grandpa is too old to die. Whenever we have we experience such losses, it's something that is permanent, it's irreplaceable. They are not going to have another father again. Not most likely not going to have another great-grandfather again or grandfather. So this is quite a trying time for the family. So
it must be.
Yeah, so we are with them in prayers. We sympathize with them. And we wish that, as my people will say, the life after his life will be better for the family. So having said that, I've also followed the conversations around his legacy. And I think nothing sums up his legacy. Nothing sums it up. More than the fact that, one, he died in a foreign hospital after being president for 8 years, and before then having been head of state for about 2.5 years. That our president died in a foreign hospital after 8 years as president speaks volume about his legacy. Secondly, I've also had the...
But Garba Shehu in an interview was trying to say, he would have died... Was it? Femi Additional, beg your pardon, was trying to say, if we had left him to the hands of the Nigerian health sector, he would have died a long time ago. That we do not have the competence bank.
Femi Additional, because...
Well, perhaps trying to explain why.
I'm talking about the man who has passed on. You see, this was how Femi Additional I don't know the right word, the right adjective to use now. I think nobody should have a Femi Additional as a spokesperson, either as president or governor. I don't understand how Femi Additional does not understand that it was Buhari's responsibility to have fixed the healthcare system in Nigeria, and that 8 years was enough to fix it to the point where he could have benefited from it. But again, I don't talk about it. I don't want, today is not a day I really want to say too much about the kind of things I feel about the Buhari administration and his legacy, because I've said more than enough. It's well documented anyway. So if it's somebody whose views are not known on Buhari, I mean, we can go on and on. But for me, I want to point out some of the lessons to be learned from Buhari's life and times. Now, like I was saying, beyond the fact that he died in a foreign hospital, who showed that he didn't fix healthcare at home enough for him to be able to benefit from the work of his hand, his legacy in healthcare at home, speaks volume. But most importantly, you have had a lot of conversation around don't speak ill about the dead.
Yeah.
I've also listened to a lot of people that are his supporters, including his former appointees, ministers, close associates, who are speaking along this line. And the best they've been able to say about the president, really, is that he was a good man, he was incorruptible, he was disciplined, he was very jovial. Most of them say he's very jovial. He cracked jokes a lot and all of that. None of them really have been able to come out to their full chest to clearly enumerate the good legacy he has left behind in terms of good governance. It's something I'm still searching for desperately, and I'm not saying. Not Garba Shehu, not Femi Additional. In fact, what I've seen that they're still making excuses for him using the 16 years of the PDP rule before him as the reason why he did not achieve much as president. But this speaks volume to his legacy. That people are talking about, don't speak ill about the dead, after a president died just 2 years after leaving office. It tells you that there are lots of ills to be speaking about him. So people are saying, respect the dead, don't say it. For me, you should not speak ill about either the dead or the living. Because speaking ill about people is a negative thing to do.
Yeah.
But you can speak and must and should speak truth about people that are dead and people that are living. So if a man is living, tell him the truth, say the truth about him. If a man is dead, continue to say that same truth about him. That is why till today, thousands of years after, we should talk about Pharaoh.
King Pharaoh of Egypt?
Pharaoh of Egypt that had the children of God in bondage. We should talk about Jezebel. We should talk about Delilah. You know something like Delilah story? We should talk about
Jezebel.
Judas.
We should make the cut also.
Judas is still being talked about it tomorrow. Yeah. So for those of us that are Muslim, we should talk about Abu Lahab and others like that. Because the things we talk about them are the truth about these people as contained in the holy books, in the scriptures. Nobody has not talking about it. In modern times, we talk about Hitler. We should talk about Abacha, for instance. We talk about a lot of people, either in the positive or in the negative, but we're speaking the truth about such people. So for Nigerians who were led or ruled by this man, whatever it is they feel is their own truth about their experience with him, they are free to say it. Nobody should be hushed. For me, for example, I've said so much. I think I spoke about Buhari up until the last 3 weeks or so. I still made reference to him. So I've spoken enough. Anybody who wants to know my opinion on Buhari's legacy, who has not been listening to me or who has not been reading me, just click my name and
search.
It will reveal a lot.
All right.
From the first week in office, we started calling out the Buhari government, not because we hate Buhari, no. And this is a lesson I want people to learn. Because we love him. As today, we saw today coming. And we said, for the man that some of us love so much as to support the president, like I always say, when Buhari was going to declare for presidency, I had friends in the PDP. I had friends up to the presidency level. I ignored all of that. I overlooked all of that and decided to say this man will be good for Nigeria or be better than what we're having now. The day Buhari launched his campaign at Eagle Square, Kima was there. First, I had to line up. I stood in a very long queue just to get in. I was patient and happy to be on that queue. I got inside. When Buhari came in, Kima was running after Buhari's motorcade, like a child that was running after an ice cream van. I lost my phone. I didn't bother. I didn't care. I felt it was a good enough sacrifice to be made on the day the Messiah is declaring his intention to contest for presidency. But just 1 week was enough for me to say, wait a minute, I think it was not what we thought it was. And because of that love we had for him, I had for him, I started calling him out. But those who supported him, who rationalized all of his actions, they are his greatest enemies today. Because if they had joined us to say, President Buhari, do not be nepotistic, do not enthrone sectionalism, do not fight a corrupt war on corruption by targeting only opposition. If you had listened to us on all our suggestions on economic management, how to unite the country, maybe Buhari would have done better. And maybe today, there will be less talk about those people about the dead and more about what he has done that is good. So such that nobody needs to speak ill really about it because he did a lot of things without necessarily being a perfect man. Nobody's talking about perfection here.
Yeah.
But as it stands today, I'm still talking about the fact that even his most ardent supporters cannot put a finger. Because the bottom line is that Muhammadu Buhari left Nigeria far worse than he met it. And people tend to say because of the problems that are created for him, I said, no. There's a reason why people contest for president. If you know you're not going to be able to solve a problem that has been created, don't put yourself forward to solve it. If they bring a car to you that you cannot solve, tell the person to take his car back. Don't start collecting payment. And you are not able to solve the problem. At the end of the day, you now complain that the problem of the car was too much. No. From the one you should have looked at, I said, I cannot handle this case. Keep your introduction. You said Buhari served Nigeria for 40 years. I beg to disagree with you. Nigeria served Buhari for 40 years, himself and his class of Nigerians. People say he gave his life himself to Nigeria. I said, no.
Looking at it from when he was a soldier, what he represented.
Buhari was a privileged human being from the day he stepped into public service as a 1962 till the day he died. It was all expense paid by the Nigerian state. What did he give us back in return? It's not just CBC, but his generation, though. All of them. What did they give us back in return? How many Nigerians are privileged to die in a very expensive British hospital that is paid for by the Nigerian state? How many Nigerians are that privileged? How many Nigerians are privileged to enjoy the kind of pressure pay he enjoyed in 8 years as president? What did he give in return? What did he give to me as a citizen? How did he use that as an incentive to better my life? What did he do? How did he live? How did he live? So most of these people were served by Nigeria.
Okay.
They didn't serve Nigeria. Nigeria served them.
Well, like you said, to know how you feel and of the legacy of the late president is to just do a Google search and they will find out a lot more. Let's go on a quick break.
And to crown it up.
Hello, my name is Kimberly. I'm the host of Hard Facts. And I bring you the biggest stories driving conversation every weekday here on 95.1 Nigeria Info Hard Fact Show. I love to get your opinion and conjectures, but the facts you cannot dispute here on Hard Facts. Join me and let's talk. with Majeed Dahiru as we look at some of the big stories. And we started off talking about the legacy of the former president who died on Sunday at the age of 82 at a London hospital. Late President Buhari, that is. And he's still getting courtesy visitors to his home country, or his country home, Daura, as those who couldn't catch a flight to be there on the day of his burial decided to visit today. We had people like Erufai, Peter Obi visiting Daura grave and condole with the family. Former Vice President Atiku, Nasir Erufai, former Governor of Kaduna, Boss Mustafa, former Secretary to the Government of the Federation today, visited the graveside of the former president in Daura, Katsina State. Peter Obi, former Governor of Anambra and presidential candidate of the Labour Party, also visited a family in Daura to condole with the family. Buhari, who served as a military head of state between 1983 and 85 and later as a democratically elected president from 2015 to 2013, died on Sunday in a London clinic. So that's it. It's still pretty much happening. And it's still talked about, I'm sure, for the whole of this week. As long as the National Assembly is still on their break throughout the ceremony, we'll still have so much to talk about. And we just got the opinion of Dr. Majeed as to what his legacy is. But let's move away from that, Dr. Majeed.
Of course.
Let's move away from that. I mean, he's dead and gone at this point in time. So even though he'll be talked about for a long time.
Of course.
It is. Now, the news coming in is that former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has resigned from the PDP. He disclosed his intention to leave the opposition party in a letter addressed to the PDP ward chairman in Jeddah, the local government of Adamawa State. And, well, it says party has derailed from its ideal. How many times now has he left the PDP? And just say, sometimes we don't keep tab.
He left in 2006
yeah.
to AC. He left in 2014.
And took a
APC,
faction of the party with him, a new PDP.
And he's left again after
so all right. 3 times is a charm, it seemed like. And the party has derailed in all the times that he left, and somehow he found his way back to this derailed ship. I don't know if he's going to come back after this, but we don't have the feel as to where he's going to just yet. But we know that the ADC is a welcoming ground.
He's like the father of ADC. So.
Apparently. So now that is official, he's left, and it'll be interesting to see if we're going to see a tsunami of people leaving the PDP.
Atiku supporters that used to come here and think that I'm picking on Atiku unnecessarily. Atiku has said the PDP has derailed. Am I surprised? I can't be surprised, definitely. So Atiku has led the PDP because it is estimation the PDP is dead, quote and unquote, right? We had said that Atiku's ambition will kill the PDP. It has killed it. PDP
is it just Atiku ambition that is killing PDP? Because it feels like a lot of players
cause
are
and
killing.
Effect. We want Kim. Not like the Buhari we talked about previously. If I wasn't called down Buhari to say, do this and do that, you should not do this, you should rather do this. Today we have a lot to say about Buhari. If you are listening, not just to me, but many other Nigerians. Kim, am I going to talk about the Naira redesign? Remember how we had the argument here? That you can't do such a policy. It will kill people. It has killed people. It killed our economy. Well, Nigeria is yet to recover from that problem. Scarcity of Naira, whatever. Imagine that problem now. If only he had listened to just that one, it won't count as part of his legacy that is not so desirable. For the PDP, ahead of the primaries, Kim, ahead of it, I had told you in this studio that APC was going south. I told you. Even when nobody knew and nobody thought it was even on the table, I said, no, they're going south. Because I had listened to some of their leaders, Erufai, then Ganduje, Zulum, and some other influential people, they have said, Masari too, the governor of the home state of the president then, President Buhari, has said, we've done our 8 years, so it's turn on the south. And then I studied the mood in the country and I said, as at the time these people were making this commitment, it was because they knew that, again, the same man we're not talking about had pushed Nigeria to a level in terms of division along ethno-geographic fault lines that the last ditch effort to save the unity, what is left of the unity of Nigeria, will be partial to the south. Because at that time, Southwest, for the first time, had their own IPOB. Yoruba Nation movement. They wanted to leave Nigeria. And it was gaining momentum. So the idea then was, if the entire regions of the South come together and now said, okay, they want to leave, where would we be? Oh? So it was in their own self-enlightened interest within the APC at least to say, let's consider this thing. Let them have it so that at least we can heal from there.
Yeah.
Very, very pragmatic decision. But I told you that people was taking the opposite. They want to grab power. They want to leverage on Buhari's northern support base by feeding the northerner so that the southerner can be defeated. And I said, it's not good for a country if this happens. And we warn the PDP that if they do that, the consequences of what they're about to do will be that the ship of the party itself will capsize and sink into oblivion. By this time, they've not done primary election. We only gave a forewarning. They don't try this. So. They tried it. They did it. They said we are going to prioritize winnability over the morality of justice, fairness, and equity. I'll give it to Atiku. I have always said that Atiku is supposed to be the one organizing the PDP at that time, having benefited from the party severally. No, why he came to the say, so you have children, and you ask one to give it to the other. And the other one that you're asking to give to the other is holding on to it strongly. So the best thing you would do is to now go into that arena, collect the ice cream from both of them and start gulping it like an agbaya. Is that what you're supposed to do? I said, this does not. Atiku bought form ahead of the outcome of the zoning committee of PDP. I was involved. He picked his form ahead of that is to preempt the outcome. So what I would decide, I'll pick form to contest. He's made up his mind. If he didn't make up his mind, it's a matter of choice. If you look at the APC, for instance, Amechi came second in that primary, right? Vice President Muhammadu came third, and Tinubu came first. Simple. It simply meant that the powers that be in the party fight behind these three candidates from the south, from the north. So, for instance, El-Rufai and some other governors weighed heavily on the side of Tinubu, gave the edge. Amechi performed very strongly. People like Buratai were strongly. It was even the agent of Amechi in that convention. Oswajo had the former governor of Kano as his agent, and some other northerners were strongly behind Osibanjo. Meaning, we've made our choice. But what's important is going to the south. I also recall that when the governors went to meet Buhari to say, okay, we will not support Ahmed Lawan, but we have decided to go to the south. But you pick anybody you like from the south, anybody, including Umahi, and work for him. Baba said, no, I don't have a choice. I don't have a candidate. Go and do for the best person. And so they came in, and so they now fight behind their respective candidates. I'm saying, I think we should have identified anybody from the south he feels is better for Nigeria and the party, and work for the president. The person wants the person wins.
Now that he's left the PDP,
I'm laying the foundation. Because he's leaving. Why will he leave a party if the party is not
in
dead?
disarray, apparently.
And I'm saying he caused the disarray.
You give one man credit for what is happening in the PDP right now.
I predicted it.
What about the other players?
I said it's a matter of cause and effect. Let me tell you something. Let me remind you. You're talking about Wike. Yes. Let me tell you what Wike.
I mean, we're not going to talk about what's happening in the PDP without looking at Wike Sheyi.
Let me tell you Wike matter.
Looking at also...
let me tell you Wike matter. It's very straightforward. Again, I was a witness. You see, in 2015, when PDP lost election, and this is very important, Kim. When PDP lost election in 2015, my position today was my position then, that Jonathan shouldn't have contested in 2015. In fact, my position was that Jonathan shouldn't have contested in 2011. Let me remind you, Kim, that when Yaradua died in 2010, May 5th, the PDP chairman then was Chief Vincent Obula from Abia State, an Igbo man. You know the first statement he made after a few days after Yaradua's death? He made a categorical statement that no Southerner should vie for the presidency of the PDP ticket because the ticket remains in the north. Firm, unequivocal. And that was the right thing. Guess what? He was removed from party chairman for this. Sent to EFCC, disgraced out of office anyway. That was when Jonathan sent the signal that he wants to contest and this guy is going to be a stumbling block. They brought in another Southerner, Chief Okweshleze Nwodo from Enugu State, another Igbo man, to replace him, because then the Southwest had the position of the chairman of the party. When they came in, they didn't even talk too much. He was just working for Atiku quietly. You know why?
Why?
If you recall, Babangida wanted to contest that election, General Babangida. Ali Guse was in the race, Bukola Saraki was in the race, and Atiku. So they set up a committee chaired by Adamu Chiruma then. to come up with a northern consensus candidate to go into the primary election with Atiku or with Jonathan. The committee said after a few weeks, they came with Atiku as the consensus candidate, as the best that should leave. Another step down for him. Guess what? Bangida's DG campaign then, before he stepped down in 2011, was Chief Raymond Dokpesin. Remember, he was arrested because of that. The DG campaign for Atiku was Benobi. The DG campaign for Sadaki was Udenta. That is, Southerners were so serious about power remaining in the north that they all supported these candidates. Now, Atiku went into the race. Opposition Muhammadu was quite looking for him until it was discovered a few hours to the convention. This man is not working for Jonathan, he's working for Atiku. They now bought one judgment from Enugu State, one court somewhere in Enugu State that seemingly nullified his election as chairman somehow. So to avoid him presenting over a process that might be, right, it was Atiku Square. Muhammadu was already at Atiku Square when they brought the order and eased him out. His deputy from the north then, Bello Haliru, now took over and conducted the primaries, delivered Jonathan, and went ahead. Jonathan wanted to nominate or appoint Mukhtar Tafida, Sediki Mukhtar Tafida, who was senator from Kaduna North then. He then was High Commissioner to UK or something. He was the DG of the campaign. So Northerners somehow supported Jonathan in a way, while the southern flank of the PDP said it is not of the north. Atiku was the beneficiary of that southern revolt against the southern president. Atiku himself was so angry that when he delivered the speech at Atiku Square, when he saw that somehow Jonathan was going to prevail, he rattled Jonathan to the point that Obasanjo had to get up then to go to Jonathan's seat to calm him down. Even though I was watching we were rattled.
Dr. Majeed, I know there's so much to learn from the past.
Let me look, like just once, so we know where we're going to. The last 8 years have been a disaster. If only we had the essence of history, we would have averted it. At that instance, when it looked like Jonathan was using his incumbency power to come back as PDP candidate, as the leader of the party, he has that advantage. You know what Atiku said? Those who make peaceful change difficult, make violent change inevitable. That was when Boko Haram started, shortly after that period. Many people in the South, including Jonathan, thought it was a political thing. The then NSA, Azazi, as NSA, concluded on this so that it was because of loss of power of the North that resulted to Boko Haram. So he said it openly. I don't know if you understand. That was the intensity of power toss between North and South. I took him granted an interview after that whole episode to say when he lost in PDP,